games industry is wonderful. It is amazing. But you have to be willing to put in the work. There's so many people out there who want to get in. It's super competitive. But also as well, one piece of advice, and I'm a prime example of this, is it doesn't have to be the standard routes. If you want to get into the industry, you don't have to be a programmer. You don't have to be a designer. There's other ways. There's auxiliary functions you can look at.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of GameLogic Behind the Games. I'm joined by Phil Smith today, Senior Talent Partner over at Splash Damage. How are you, Phil?
Hello, doing very well, thanks, Mike. How you doing?
Good, I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. Whereabouts in the world are you recording from today?
I am in lovely grey Cardiff in Wales.
It sounds a lot like lovely grey London where I am as well.
Yes, yeah, it's very cold at the moment. Although I'm actually weirdly in a shirt. I'm looking very summery. I've been in a hoodie and an hoodie all week. You've got me on a good day.
Yeah, well, hopefully you can bring the sunshine, mate, just like that.
Yeah, maybe.
So thanks so much for coming on today, Phil. Really, really keen to get you on the pod. And for full disclosure, for those that don't know, Phil worked alongside me for many years and helped me launch GameLogic a few years ago, just after the pandemic. And we worked together pretty closely with our first gaming client, didn't we?
Yeah, what a wild ride that was as well. Great times.
Back in the day.
Yeah, it is really great to see you guys again.
Absolutely. It's always great to catch up, Phil. And I wondered if you don't mind, if you could just start by giving us a little bit of a tour of your journey and how you've got to where you are now.
Yeah, so as we alluded to, I started. I mean, it was your fault really that I'm here right now. Let's be completely honest. This wouldn't have happened if we never met. So yeah, I was working in a wine bar. My mate from uni was like, "You should try this recruitment gig out." Happened to be with you. That was Tommy, who obviously you know from back in the day. We were originally doing general banking recruitment, wasn't it? It was banking into fintech. Just general stuff like that, anything technology related and financial institutions, that kind of thing. It was super rewarding. I was going to say super rewarding, but oh my God, it was boring. Yeah, it was not the one. It was okay. It was great as a learning platform. It was great to get used to, these processes and what you should and shouldn't be doing. But yeah, everyone's got a bit of a stick up their bum, let's be fair. It's a bit slow as well. And then I can't remember exactly how it happened, but I know I think I was on a drive home from the office one day, and it was you very, very excited on the other end of the phone going, mate, I think we come up with a gaming client. Are you interested? Of course, as an avid gamer, I was like, well, yeah, this is pretty much the dream client. Let's have a go. We started, when was this? This was probably was it just before lockdown, I think?
I think it was about 2019. So I reckon kind of mid to late 2019, wasn't it?
I think so. I remember it wasn't long after that lockdowns happened, which was a very, very weird time. Yeah, so we were working with it was the multiplayer group. I can talk about studios on here, can't I? We don't have to blank stuff out. Yeah,
no,
cool.
all good.
Awesome. Yeah, so we were working with the multiplayer guys that were at the time. Obviously, just got taken over by Improbable. Put in, a lot of people for considering that we'd never really done that market before. I think we just grabbed it and ran, and it was one of the most fun times I've had in pretty much any job. Like, it was so full on. It was super, super engaging. Obviously really rewarding as well. Bloody tiring. It was hard work, but
I loved it as well.
Yeah.
I remember a couple of times projects came in and you and I were just like, weekend gone, like we're just resourcing all weekend. It was brilliant. It
was really good times, to be fair. It was and the thing, when you care about the thing that you're talking about as well with these people can smell it, they can tell. It just makes the job easier, and it makes the job more fun. It makes the job actually worth doing, compared to talking about some financial institutions project that they're working on that you don't really care about, and then big shiny game that you love, which one you're going to go to. So that was probably 2019, 2020. Did that for a couple more years. I think I was with you for just over 4.5 years by the time it came to it. It was just the three of us for a little bit. Grew to probably about, was it 12 or 13, I think, by the time I left.
By the time you left, we got to 15 at one point at our peak. As is the way in recruitment, we kind of flex up and down depending on markets and what we're doing, right?
Yeah, that's it. So did the agency stuff with you, didn't go anywhere else. That was pretty much it. And then I came to the conclusion that there was something bigger and brighter out in the industry. I wanted to explore more and see what there was to offer. And just see other things and the other side of the coin. So it's very, very fortunate. Splash Damage we're looking for a senior recruiter, effectively. We call it a talent partner. It's a recruiter with a lovely fancy title. And I was well up for the challenge. As I said, I wanted to utilize all the skills that I'd already had within agency recruitment. And I'd dealt with so many internal folks over my years doing that as well. And I thought, this can be done well. That there are good people out there. It's not all just brick walls and gatekeepers. There is a good way to do this. And I wanted to be part of that. And I wanted to, not just be on the outside looking in. I wanted to get involved and actually shape and make some changes with some of the processes at these studios. That's what gets me going. That's what gets me excited. That's what I'm loving now as well. So I started that back in October 2022. It was a hell of a change. Let's be fair. It was not like what I was used to. Things were a little bit slower. When you're used to an agency pace, it's it's a lot of night and day. It really is. But the thing, as I said, that keeps me engaged with it and keeps me super enthralled to do it every day. It's the other side. It's the kind of operations piece of it. So it's dealing with the stakeholders. It's looking after your own discipline and we all look after our own areas of the studio there. So I look after design and production. And you just get to hang out and speak with people who talk your language all day and every day. And you get to influence, what goes on in the studio, and you get to influence the people that you get. And one of the things that I particularly love about it as well, compared to agency recruitment, is, when you stick someone in before, you always get that lovely warm feeling when someone gets the job. But I actually get to see them the next day when they come into the office, and, cool. And you actually get to hang out with them and make friends with these people. So it's a lot more involved personally, which I love. I do miss the hustle and bustle of the agency, but I also don't at the same time. So and that's pretty much been me up to now.
And this might seem a strange thing to hear from me, actually, but like for me, Phil, you're one of the huge success stories of our company because, you're not with us anymore, but what we've done is hopefully given you a really, really good experience, a good foundation, and then you've gone on to do something that you love. Like, we've helped you find your way, which I'm super proud of. And like, it's awesome to be able to come on here and still chat with you and still be mates because, let's be honest, there's a lot of the time that doesn't happen when people leave companies, right? But I think it's a huge success story that you've come in and you've found your way, and now you're clearly excelling and loving life. And I'm really chuffed for you, mate. I think that's awesome.
No, thank you. No, as I said, it is your fault this has all happened. So on your head be it. But no,
I'm full blame.
I'm having a very, very good time. It is great. And I appreciate it.
Well, one thing I wanted to mention before I kind of ask you to go in a bit more detail, if that's okay, is I always remember when you turn up for your interview and, bear in mind that at the time we were working with investment banks and financial services, interviewing with green hair. And I was like, I like him. He's got green hair. And we had to change that pretty quickly. But I noticed that the green hair is back.
Yeah, we've gone full circle,
which is great to see.
Yeah, we
great
have.
to see.
Yeah.
I love that. Good on you. The green hair is back.
Thank you.
So, Phil, part of the reason I wanted to do this podcast, and I think especially for those, well, not even those just outside of gaming, those inside gaming that are in certain niches and certain silos, I think there's so many things that happen within our world that other people aren't aware of. And that could be job roles. It could be, it could be how these games are made, teams, or whatever it might be. So what I really hope that people get from this podcast is being able to learn a little bit more about what happens behind the game. So if you are able to, and please don't get yourself in any trouble, but are you able to tell us a little bit more about what your role actually entails day to day and some of the things you get up to?
Yeah, of course. So as I said, it's effectively an internal recruiter who also is responsible for and this is the senior part pretty much, is looking after a whole department yourself, and it's managing processes, it's influencing on those processes, it's the stakeholder management side of it as well. So effectively similar to, as you'd see at another kind of recruitment agency or something like that. So I'll look after design and production. I'll be responsible for all of the hires within that department. I'll make sure that everyone within the process is, pretty much actively, promptly fed back with decisions. I make sure that that's both candidate side and internal side as well. So I'm basically the conduit between the teams and the people externally. So we're the external face pretty much of the studio. So what that'll involve is, as I said earlier, it's part of the strategy piece as well. So it's not just screening CVs. It's not just processing people. there is also the side of how do we make this process better? How do we make this more efficient? Can we change anything here? What can we look at? How do we make this? And something I've been getting into a lot recently, which I've been particularly loving, is the data side of it. So I've been diving pretty much into the back end of, all of the, like we used to do in the agency days. I'm trying to adopt that model now internally of, if we look at a role, if we open it tomorrow, I need to know how many people I need to approach. So if I approach 50 people, I'm going to get 10 CVs. If I get 10 CVs, I'm probably going to get 4 interviews. If I get 4 interviews, probably going to get, 2 or 3 second interviews. And if I get that, then I'm probably going to get an offer. It's that kind of thing that I feel is probably lacking in some studios right now. It's that kind of ownership over the process of not just being, CV screeners, which I think some are, not all. I think that'd be a disservice to say that. But yeah, I definitely think there is that middle ground where both worlds can collide and can work more effectively and more efficiently there. So that's pretty much most of my job day today at the moment. It's diving into numbers, looking at that, and also obviously getting great people and talking to managers internally as well, and holding their hand and driving them through.
What's the best thing about your job, Phil?
It's definitely being involved in studio life. Like it was that piece that I thought was missing before, and I didn't realize it wasn't until I got it, I think. So it's knowing that you're surrounded by a bunch of other weirdos that are very, very, very deeply into that same interest that you are. I know, obviously, of course, we were. I mean, we're a bit of a weird bunch in this, when we were working together as well. But it's less of it's less of a function of people just happening to be together. It feels much like they were guided there, and it feels like that's what they're meant to be doing. And you feed off that energy. Like, it's amazing. It really is. When you're talking with someone who has worked on some of these amazing games that that you've played in the past and that you particularly love, and you hold a candle to, and all of a sudden they're your co-worker, and you can just grab them for a coffee and talk about game design. That's amazing. Like, that's the kind of thing that you don't get in a lot of places, which I particularly like.
Brilliant. And it's been fantastic to see you be able to work directly for a studio, get yourself into an industry that you love and you're passionate about. And I think there's probably a lot of people out there who would love to do the same. And I'm wondering, do you have any advice or tips for anybody that would like to try and break into the gaming industry?
Yeah, it's hard. That's one of my main pieces of advice is to be realistic about it and understand it is going to be a graft. It's going to be hard work. It's not something that just happens overnight. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear that. It can be quite a negative way to start. And I don't think it should be. The games industry is wonderful. It is amazing. But you have to be willing to put in the work. There's so many people out there who want to get in. It's super competitive. But also as well, one piece of advice, and I'm a prime example of this, is it doesn't have to be the standard routes. If you want to get into the industry, you don't have to be a programmer. You don't have to be a designer. There's other ways. There's auxiliary functions you can look at. You can look at, literally pretty much what any business does. Game studios probably have that function in them too. So you've got operations departments, you've got facilities departments, you've got, HR, you've got, sorry, I got really distracted then saying HR. Then you can, you've got other departments as well, such as, technical departments, support departments. So if you're particularly good at IT, the studio's looking for people, who need those kind of people. You've got network engineers. There's pretty much whatever you can think of at any business. Game studios will want them too. So if it is an industry you want to break into, even if you don't think you have that direct skill set, there's definitely an avenue in. If you know someone there, or if there's, just shoot your shot is my recommendation there. If whatever it is, and as long as they're, in that particular industry that you're looking at, then I don't see why you shouldn't. Also, as well, it does help to be very, very sociable. I know that, again, not everyone is, and I don't think it should penalise people that aren't, but it's such a bonus if you are. Just get to know people, get to meet folks, go to events. I was very lucky to go to Develop this year, and I know you guys went over to GDC, and just things like that. Just start talking with people, get relationships built. If it's not for now, then definitely in the future. And also, if you're looking to break in and you're a grad, look for grad schemes. That's a thing that a lot of studios run. I know we used to run one called Fresh Talent. I don't know if that's going to be happening again this year, but it is something that we would be loving to do again, because it's such an important part of the industry to reload the stocks, as it were, to get people back in.
That's some great advice there, Phil. No, thank you. I think it would be remiss of us, especially as we both work in the people business, to not discuss what's going on in the industry right now. It's 2023, especially second half of 2023, was rocky. 11,000, circa 11,000 plus layoffs already with 1st of February, and we're about 5.5, nearly 6,000 already. Is this going to continue? What's going to happen?
Yeah, it's been a pretty painful and wild time for a lot of folks in this industry, and it's been really hard to see, some people that you've made very, very strong connections with, and seeing them go through that turmoil and that pain and that uncertainty. And I definitely think it's not over. I mean, we've seen it already, as you said, 6,000 just in January alone, which is absolutely bloody crazy. I think it's a symptom of, when we look at when we started doing this over kind of lockdown, there was such a hyperinflation in studios. I mean, people were at home, they're playing games, they're sat in the same four walls every day. There wasn't much else to do apart from, consume media. And I think that caused such a massive boom. And I think a lot of investors and a lot of, venture capitalists saw this and thought, well, hey, this is our next ticket. Let's do this. Much, what happened in tech. And I don't think we're quite over that yet. I do think that there's still going to be some studios that are impacted, unfortunately, just due to the fact that we still haven't ended this financial year for a lot of studios. There's still some projects that are still maybe not hitting the mark, and I think that's the problem as well. It's been that hyperinflation in studios growing slightly too quickly, not even slightly. Some are just going wildly too quickly. And then, unfortunately, the ones that pay the price for mismanaged opportunities and projects. So I definitely think there's still risk there with some studios. I think probably the next place to look is where it's going to be a bit more stable. Are those slightly smaller studios who aren't at the precipice of AAA, who aren't just the Microsofts, the Activisions? Those seem to be the ones more at risk, which you'd think would be the opposite. I think at the moment you're probably better off looking, very obviously going to be biased, but someone like a Splash who's on that cusp of, they are making AAA products. That is what they've been known for. That's what they do. But they haven't grown too quickly. They haven't expanded by 200% in the last 2 years, or they haven't just had some kind of external investment. Okay, we had Tencent who took over, but they've got a good track record within that industry. It seems stable enough, which is great. So yeah, I think look at smaller studios. I think look at mid-sized studios instead, and I think that's where you're going to be a bit more stable. And I think is where you're going to get more longevity in your career if you are worried about that at the moment.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with all of that, Phil. I think for me, it seems like, I mean, I don't know if it's the right terminology really, but it's almost like a natural reset, which is really rubbish for all of those people that have been laid off. But I guess what I'm getting at is, the games industry is huge. Like, it's still growing. It's still going to be a multi-billion-dollar industry this year. It's just it's kind of veered off path a little bit, and unfortunately, it's just checking itself before the inevitable bounce. Like, for me, things are going to pick up. The layoffs will stop, certainly at the rate that we're seeing at the moment, because there's still plenty of games to be built, right, and plenty of games to be shipped.
Yeah, and it's not that the money isn't there either. And I think as well, it's a pretty common symptom of acquisitions in general, not just in games.
Especially with Microsoft and Blizzard, right? Like, any huge tech acquisition or merger is going to see lots of victims. It's just it's really, really annoying. It's come in line with all the others, right?
No, it's true. And again, I think that's why they've all come at one time, because there was that massive spate of acquisitions. Everyone was buying everyone. And I think that has settled now. We are seeing a bit more stability. Unfortunately, we haven't seen the end of the layoffs. But as you say, the one thing, and I'd like to add, not to end on a negative note on this subject, is the amount of support that I see
it's
within. Awesome. It's unbelievable. Like, it's so
no
nice
other industry. No other industry.
A studio shuts down and instantly there's everyone's help making sure that everyone's okay, that they've got the support they need. The support network's unbelievable. Yeah, it really, really is.
Agreed. So I've got a couple of questions left, Phil. The first one I haven't asked you in a couple of years, but I used to ask you every single day. What's for dinner? The most important one.
Very good question. What was for dinner today? I think I'm having cheese and tomato gnocchi that I'm gonna bake in the oven. It's just
when Phil says cheese and tomato gnocchi, that sounds a bit plain, but I know, as I know you, it's gonna be a bit special, right? It's gonna be a little bit extravagant. It's probably gonna be homemade. It's gonna have some nice accompaniments. It's gonna be some kind of fancy cheese,
Yeah, you're not wrong actually. To be fair, I've
No,
been watching a lot of MasterChef recently, and it's rubbed off. Yeah, Georgia, my wife, absolutely loves it. She never complains. But
that's
my
an idea for
waistline
another
does.
podcast. And then finally, what are you looking forward to getting your hands on this year? What's due for release that you're looking forward to playing?
Well, the most exciting one, and I actually got my hands on it because it came out a couple of days ago, was Apollo Justice, which is the second trilogy of the Phoenix Wright series. Capcom have just remastered them. They're games that I used to play on the DS years and years and years ago. I played them once a year, usually around Christmas time. They're amazing story games. I just absolutely love the characters. I just love the whole feel of it. It's such a stupid vibe. It just suits me. Just very silly, very irreverent, I think is how I'd describe it. So yeah, that's what I was most excited to get my hands on, and I've just been playing that for the last few days. So I've been a bit blinded by that. But
is it good?
It's never not good. It's like settling in with your favorite cozy book. Like it's that kind of feeling where you can just get into it, and it's just lovely. What else am I looking forward to recently? I really want to get into some more first-person shooters, just because it makes the studio I work at. We make multiplayer first-person shooters. It seems stupid to not get into those. So obviously, I'd be stupid if I didn't say some of the games we're working on. They do genuinely look banging.
Are you able to talk about any of them?
I can tell you what they are. So we're currently working on Transformers Reactivate. So that is cool. It's one of the top 10 IPs in the world. That's looking amazing. And then we're working on another game called Project Astrid, which is made with Sacriel and Shroud. I don't know if I'm sure the viewers will probably know who they are.
Yeah.
Two of the biggest streamers on Twitch, pretty much. The Shroud is like OG, like Counter-Strike. Finn probably knows him. He's probably worked with him back in the day from
probably mates, and they probably follow each other on Insta. Yeah,
probably. And then Sacriel is basically that, but for like survival games. So those are it sounds stupid to pat your own back, but no, I'm looking forward to those. They're going to be a little while. Yeah, I can't mention too much on dates, but that's something I'm particularly looking forward to. How about you? What have you guys been playing? Still a lot of FIFA in the studio?
There's a fair bit of FIFA that goes on the office. I bought Tekken today, so I'll be pasting people at that next week. Actually, we turned on UFC yesterday. The new UFC game. One of the guys in the office brought that in. I didn't get to play it. I was out yesterday, so I don't actually know. I haven't played it yet. They seem to like it. What else? Football Manager, of course.
Oh, of course, Football Manager. Yeah.
What I love about Football Manager is I could play Football Manager Touch on my iPad, in an evening when the kids are watching telly, and it doesn't take too much away, and I can kind of put it down and stuff. And obviously, being a football fan, it feels. But I never deviate from Football Manager. I've always got Football Manager plus X other. So Ghost of Tsushima I've got on at the moment. New COD I've played a little bit of. What else am I playing? That's about it, really. Like, I'm pretty mainstream, right? I'm not a hardcore niche gamer like yourself and many others, but part of the reason I like this podcast, I ask everyone what they're looking forward to, make a note, and then look them up. Yeah, so I'll hopefully get some good games on the menu.
Yeah, good games are good games, man. Doesn't matter what they are, what flavour it is.
I'm going to open my mind this year. Open the library for sure.
Yeah.
Phil, thank you so much for coming on today, mate. I know you're a busy guy. I really, really appreciate it. I always love our catch up. It's catch-ups. It's great to see you again, and I hope to see you in person very soon.
Yeah, likewise, mate. Really, really good. Had a good time on here. Nice to see you again, and thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Phil. Take care, mate.
Bye, mate.